Hello everyone, today in this video we'll be solving the conditionals and loops problems. So here are some of the problems which we will be solving today, and these are the basic Java programs. So let's get started with the first one, which is write a program to find the area of a circle. Okay, so how we'll approach this question is we'll have to take the what is the formula for area of a circle. Area of a circle is equal to pi into r square, right? So pi can be taken as 3.14, right? 3.14 into r we will be taking from the user. Okay, r will be the user input and we will multiply r and r. Okay, that will be stored in the area. Okay, and then we'll be outputting this one. Okay, so let's see how to do this one in the coding part. So firstly we'll be having a scanner here and a double area, and we'll have the radius also. Okay, let's take it as r. The we'll take the input for r. Okay, r is equal to the input will come, not next int, it's next double, I guess. And we'll be calculating the area. Okay, area is equal to 3.14 into r, right? That will be the area, and then we'll output the area. Here we will write area is equal to, then we'll output the area here. Okay, so let's run the program and see. First we have to enter the radius, so let's enter the radius as 10, so it will be 100 into 3.14, and that should be 314, so the area is 314. Okay, so this was for the program of finding the area of a circle. Now let's move on to the next one, which is the area of a triangle. Okay, what changes should be made here to find the area of a triangle? What is the formula for area of a triangle? We can take the length, the area, let's do it here. The area of a triangle is half BH. So we'll take these two inputs, breadth and height, and then we'll be multiplying with 0.5. That will be stored here. Okay, that is the area of a triangle. Okay, so let's do that here. We'll be having the breadth and the height, and we'll be taking both of these inputs. Let's copy paste this one here, and this is for the height. And then area, we have to create the area also, so we'll write the area, and area is equal to, what is the formula? It's 0.5 into breadth into height. Okay, then we'll output the area here. Let's run the program. First you have to input the breadth and the height, base and the height. So base is 12, height is 6, so the expected answer should be 36. So yeah, that's the answer for the area of a triangle. Now let's move on to the next one, which is the area of a rectangle. This is also very easy to find the area of a rectangle. How we'll do? First we'll take the length and breadth. That's the same thing here. Instead of 0.5, we'll just have length and breadth here. Okay. Instead of H, we have L here, and we'll output the area. Okay. So let's run the program. Let's take the input as 4 and 5. So the expected answer should be 20. So the answer is 20 here. Okay. Let's move on to the next one. Area of an isosceles triangle. In isosceles triangle, we have to use the Heron's formula. So what is the Heron's formula? Let's discuss about the Heron's formula. The Heron's formula is, first we have to take up the three sides. Let's draw a triangle here, A, B and C. Okay, and we will calculate S as A plus B plus C divided by 2. Okay, after calculating the S, the area will be equal to square root of S into S minus A into S minus B into S minus C. Okay, so this is the area of the isosceles triangle. So here what all we need to do? We need to take the input for A, B, C. Okay, and after that we have to calculate S. Okay, and after that we will apply the formula to get the area. Okay, so how many variables we need? A, B, C, S and area. Okay, so let's do that here. So here what we need is double A, B, C, S and area. Okay, we'll take the inputs for ABC. Let's take the inputs for ABC. and now we have to calculate s. Okay, s is nothing but a plus b plus c divided by 2. After getting s, we have to calculate area, and area is nothing but math.sqrt. So we are using math function math.sqrt s into we have to calculate s minus a into s minus b into s minus c. Alright, so this is the area for the triangle. So let's try this one. So let's input like 3, 4 and 5, and the area is 6. Okay. The next one is the area of a parallelogram. So it's same as the rectangle program, so I'm skipping that for now. And area of a rhombus. So what's the area of a rhombus? That's also same as the rectangle. And area of an equilateral triangle. Here also we'll apply the isosceles triangle formula. And perimeter of a circle. Let's solve this one. Perimeter of a circle. What we have to do is, and let's see the perimeters formula. Okay. Here we'll have the radius and the area. Let's take the radius and the area. And here we'll have the, first we'll take the radius and we'll calculate the area. Okay, not area, perimeter, sorry, perimeter. Let's make this perimeter. Okay, now we have to calculate the perimeter. Let's write here. Perimeter is equal to, what's the formula? 2 into 3.14 into r. This is the formula, right? 2 pi r. So perimeter is equal to, and we'll output your perimeter. Alright, let's run the program and see. After enter the radius, let's enter 3, and this is the perimeter. Okay, so this was for the perimeter of a circle. Let's solve the next one now. Perimeter of an equilateral triangle. Okay, so for equilateral triangle, you have to just take one input, which is the side. So let's take s as the input, and here we have the perimeter as 3 times s. Okay, let's run the program. If you enter like 6, the perimeter should be 18. Okay, so this was for the perimeter of an equilateral triangle. Let's move on to the next one now. The next one is the perimeter of a parallelogram. Okay, now what's a parallelogram? In parallelogram, what we have is these two sides will be parallel, and these two sides will be parallel. Okay, so if this is L and this is B, what will be the perimeter? Perimeter will be 2 times L plus B. Right, we'll take the user input for L and B, and then we'll calculate 2 times L plus B. Let's do that in the code. In code we will take L and B, so let's type for L and B, L comma B, and here we have B. Okay, we have taken L and B, and we'll calculate the perimeter as 2 times, in brackets we'll calculate L plus B. Okay, so this is the perimeter. Let's run the program. If you enter like 4 and 5, what should be the perimeter? 4 plus 5, 9, 9 is 18. Okay, let's move on to the next one, which is perimeter of rectangle. That's also same as this one, the same code. And the square, in square we'll multiply 4 with the side. Let's do that here. We just do the same thing here. Instead of L and B, we'll have S, and what we'll have is 4 times S. Okay, because square is having all sides equal, and here we'll take the input S is equal to SC dot next. Alright, next double sorry. Now let's see the output. If we enter like 4, what we should get? We should get 16. Okay, so we got here 16. Alright, let's move on to the next program. Here we have the perimeter of rhombus, that's also same as a square, and here we have the volume of cone in Java. What is the volume of cone? Okay, the volume of cone is 1 by 3 pi r square h. I guess, if I am not wrong, but let's focus on the code now. Suppose that the volume of the cone is 1 by 3 pi r square h. Okay. If this is the volume of the cone, so we'll be taking the input for r, h, and we'll be multiplying with 3.14 into 1 by 3. Okay, so let's try out in the code. Here we'll have r and h, and here we'll have the volume, let's take it VOL. Okay, we'll take the input for R as well as for H. Okay, here we'll have R and H, and the volume will be equal to, here we'll have volume will be equal to 1 by 3, take 1 by 3 into 3.14 into R into H. Okay, and here we will output volume is equal to, here we will output volume. Okay, let's run the program and see. Instead of 1 by 3 we have to write 0.33. So when we do that, we will get this output here. If I input 5 and 10, we will get the volume 259. Okay, let's move on to the next one. The next one is the volume of prism. Okay, so I'm not sure about the volume of prism, so I have to look at the formula. Okay, suppose that this is the prism, and to calculate the volume, what we have to do is calculate the base area here and keep it as V. V is equal to B into what is the height here. Okay, this height. B into H will give us the volume. Okay, so let's try to implement this one in the code. This is also very easy. What we have to do is take the base area and the height and the volume here. Okay, instead of R we take the base area and the volume is just BH. Okay, B. Let's try to run this program. We'll output the base area as 20 and the height as 5, so here we get 100. Okay, let's move on to the next one, which is the volume of a cylinder. Cylinder is just pi r square h, so we can do it in that way, and this is 4 by 3 pi r cube, and the volume of pyramid can be found out in the similar manner. Then let's try out this one, curved surface area of a cylinder. Okay, I guess it is 2 pi r h, so let's try out here how to find out the curved surface area. So the formula is this one. Let's write here. The curved surface area formula is 2 pi r h. Okay, if I'm not wrong, and we have to multiply 2 pi with r and h. So we have to take the user input as r and h. Okay, so let's take the user input as r and h, and CSA, it is curved surface area. So let's make it CSA. CSA is equal to curved surface area into r into h. Okay, 2 pi. Okay, 2 into 3.14 into r into h, and it's curved surface area. So CSA is equal to, we'll output here CSA. Okay, let's run the program. So we'll output the radius as 5 and the height as 10. So the output is 340. Okay, let's move on to the next one. The next one is total surface area of a cube. That's also found out in the same way. I guess it is 6a square. So yeah, we can take a as the input and multiply 6 with a and a. Okay, and let's try out this one, Fibonacci series in Java programs. Let's discuss what is Fibonacci series. Fibonacci series means the numbers, first two numbers will be 0 and 1. Then the next number will be the sum of these both. Okay, the sum of these both will be 1. Then the sum of next two. Okay, what will the sum of next two? It will be 2. Then next two is 3. Then 3 plus 2 is 5. 5 plus 3 8, and so on. Like that, we have to generate a Fibonacci series. Okay. So first two numbers we will be outputting if we'll be taking from the user the input as, okay, first we'll be asking the user how many digits you want to print. Okay, so if the user enters 0 digits, we'll be outputting we'll be outputting nothing. Okay, if the user inputs like 1 digit, we'll be outputting 0. First we'll have a check. If n is equal to 1, output 0. Else output if n is equal to like 2. If n is equal to 2, we'll be outputting 0 and 1. Okay, we'll be outputting 0 and 1. If n is equal to 3, we'll be outputting 0, 1 and 1. Okay, if n is 3, we'll be outputting 0, 1 and 1. If n is equal to 4, you got the point, right? We'll be outputting till 2. Okay, so like that. First let's discuss the approach of this question. Here we'll have a loop in which here we have a conditional statement. If n is equal to 0 digit. Okay, output nothing, just return. Okay, return or don't output anything. If n is equal to 1, then output 0. Else if n equal to like 2, at that time we have to output 0 then 1. Okay, and after that we will be editing accordingly. Means if n is equal to 3, will be having a for loop here. Okay, in that for loop will be running from I is equal to, you have to decide on that, like what is the for loop you have to run. So for that we will be having like we can take I is equal to 3 because we are starting from the third iteration, and the condition is I is less than or equal to n, and we can have I plus plus. Okay, don't worry, I'll be explaining what why I'm writing these things. So in this loop it's running from 3 to n. Okay, in our case n is equal to 3. Okay, and firstly we'll have two initialized as a is equal to 0, b is equal to 1. Okay, and sum is equal to, sum is nothing but a plus b. Okay, we'll have sum is equal to a plus b. So in our case what will be sum? Sum will be 0 plus 1 1. Okay, and we will do here sum is equal to a plus b. Okay, every time, and then a will be equal to b, b's value should come to a, and b's in b what will be stored is sum. Okay, so what happens is, see, what I'm doing is I'm storing two numbers here as a and b. Okay, then if I want to output this one, what I'll do, a plus b. First I'm doing a plus b, that is 1 plus 1. Okay, so that will be stored in sum, so sum will be 2. Okay, and then what I'm doing is I am shifting the value of a here and shifting the value of b here. Okay, this was nothing but sum, so sum is getting initialized in b, and this was nothing but b, and b is getting initialized at a. Okay, so that's what I'm doing here, a is equal to b, b is equal to sum. Okay, so let me summarize it for you, like what I just told. So this is the Fibonacci series, right? 0 1, 1 plus 1 2, and 1 plus 2 3, 3 plus 2 5, and so on. Okay, so here what we are taking is, we are taking two pointers a here and b. Okay, and then we are taking sum. What is sum? Sum also will be storing here. Sum is equal to a plus b, and we'll be outputting the sum in the next iteration. Okay, means a plus b will be calculated, and this, that will be output in the next one. Okay, so sum will be outputting next one. Okay, so we have to calculate a and b, and after calculating and outputting the sum, what we have to change, a should be coming here and b should be coming here, right? If a is to come here, this was the value of b initially, right? B was pointing to this one, right? If b was pointing to this one and a's value should become that, so what we have to write is a is equal to b. First I have to write that, then b's value is nothing but this output. This output was sum, so b will be equal to sum. This one we will be writing here. Okay, after writing these two statements, we will do again the same repetition we will do. Okay, so let's see here what is the repetition. After that, what will be the values of a and b? A will be here, b will be here. Okay, and then again we will do the sum is equal to a plus b. A plus b is 2, so sum will be 2. Okay, sum value is 2 now, and then what we will be doing, a is equal to b and b is equal to sum. A is equal to b means a will become this one and b will become this one. So the a's and b's value will be, so a's and b's value will be 1 and 2. Okay, so it will be 1 and 2, and then sum will be in the next iteration sum will be 3. In that way we are doing. Okay, so let's try to write this in the code. In the code, first what we have to take is the integer values. So let's write the integer. We need two variables first, a, b, and the sum. Okay, and we'll have the n also, so that the user enters how many digits the user wants to see. Okay, and after getting n also, we'll check, first we'll take the input. Okay, n is equal to sc dot next int. Okay, here we'll get the user input, and that is the number. Okay, now we'll be checking if n equal to 0, print 0. Okay, I guess this should work. If n equal to 1, okay, what we have to print, if n is equal to 1, we will be printing 0, okay, because the first digit is 0. If n is equal to 2, then we have to print 1, 0 plus 1, 1, okay. If n is equal to 3, then we have to run the for loop, okay. Before that, if it's not any of these cases, then it's obviously greater only, okay. So what we'll be doing here is sum is equal to a plus b, okay. Let's initialize a and b here. A is equal to 0, b is equal to 1, okay. A is equal to 0, b is equal to 1. Now if n is equal to 3, at that time I have to run a for loop for int I is equal to 3, I is less than or equal to n, I plus plus. And here what I should do is a few steps. Sum is equal to a plus b first, and then a is equal to b, and sum is equal to, and b is equal to sum, okay. B is equal to sum, and after getting this output, we'll be printing here like sum, okay. So here we have to not print the sum actually, because we have to print the Fibonacci series, right? So for that, what we will be doing is, alright, the changes which I have made here is, if n is equal to 2, you have to output 0, 1, then a space, okay. So if n is greater than these numbers, so in that case you have to output each, I mean, what is the output here? Means each of the digits we have to output, right? So first we will output 0, then 1. Here also we need to have space, I guess. Yeah, now I think it's fine. So let's make the change here also. Alright, so after that what we need to do is, we need to print each digit, right? So here we will be printing out the sum, okay. Here we will be printing out the sum followed by a space, okay. So that's it, I guess, for this question. Let's run the program and see. If I type here 6, it should output is 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3 and 5, okay. So here we have written print ln, so let's remove that one. So then it will work fine, okay. So this is the program for the Fibonacci series in Java program. Let's move on to the next one, which is subtract the product and the sum of the digits of an integer, okay. What we have to do, we have to subtract the product and the sum of the digits of an integer, okay. So this is a lead code program, so let's move to the lead code. So let's see the approach, what will be following in this question. In this question, suppose that the number which we get is, okay, let's take it as a number which is 731, okay. If you get this number, what you have to first do, you have to separate the digits as 7 as separate digit, 3 as separate digit, and 1 as separate digit. We'll store it in different memory locations, okay. And after that you have to calculate two things, right? Product and the sum. Cool. You have to calculate the product and the sum. After getting these three separated, we'll first multiply 7 into 3 into 1, and then we will add, okay, 7 plus 3 plus 1. This will be stored in product and sum. Then what we will do is, we have to subtract it, right? So difference will be equal to prod minus sum. Okay, product minus sum. This will be the answer. Okay. So let's first take the number. That's the first step what we have to follow, and then separate the digits, and then calculate the product and sum, and then subtract. Okay, these are the 5 steps. Let's see how to approach this question. It will be better if we write down the steps here. So let's write down the steps. So what are the steps we need to follow? Okay, let's see here and write what are the steps we need to follow. The first step is take the number. Take the number. Second step is separate the digits. That's the second step. You have to separate the digits, and after that we will find out the product of those digits and sum, and finally we will subtract the product and the sum. So let's try it out how to do. Let's keep in mind, take the number. That's the first step. Let's take the number. I guess I have written here, but I'll erase it and do it again. right? So subtract the product and the sum. Okay, so we have been given the number. So the first step is over. Our first step is over. Then separate the digit. How will separate the digit? Okay, if the number is n, how can we separate the digits? We can write while n is not equal to 0. Okay, while n is not equal to 0, if you want to separate the digits, okay, we can take n is equal to, we can take an integer r. Okay, I'll explain why I'm taking integer r. Now r is nothing but remainder. R is equal to n modulus 10. If I do n modulus 10, suppose I have the number 73. If I do 73 modulus 10, what answer I'll get? 3. That's the last digit, right? That's what I'm doing here to get the last digit. So here I'm getting the last digit by doing n percentage 10. So I'll get the last digit here. And then what I have to do? I have to calculate the sum and the product. Okay, let's take two variables in prod is equal to 0 first. Well, let's take prod is equal to 1 because you have to find out the product. If we take 0, it will become like 0 only. Okay, because anything multiplied by 0 is 0. And here we'll do sum plus or equal to the r value. So I'll get the last value of sum in last value of the digit of this number in sum. Okay, and same time I'll do prod is equal to prod into is equal to, okay, that will be prod into is equal to r. So r's value will be multiplied with the product, initially product, and that will be stored in product. Okay, and finally I have to do n is equal to n divide is equal to 10. I'll explain what is this. What is n divide is equal to 10? See here, if I have the number 73, okay, what I need is I need 7 separate and 3 separate. Already I have done 3, so I just need 7 now. So how to get 7 from 73? If I do 73 divided by 10, what answer I get? 7, right? So n will be stored as 7. I am doing n is equal to 73 divided by 10. So n will become 7. So I'll just have one digit now. Again this process will be repeated, r will be found out, and again n will be 7 by 10, which is 0. Then the process will stop. Okay. So that's what I'm doing here. N divided is equal to 10. Okay. After that, we'll have the sum and product after this while loop gets over. And after that, we'll be calculating the difference. So we can just return product, the difference between the product and the sum. So prod minus sum. Okay, let's try to run the code. So this code has accepted. Let's submit the code. Yeah, this is about the difference between the product and the sum of digits. So let's move on to the next one. The next one is the input a number and print all the factors of that number. All the factors of that number. What does factor mean? Let's take an example. Okay. Suppose that I have to calculate the factor of 36. Okay. Factors means how many numbers are there. Like if you multiply, we'll get 36. We can have 1 into 36, 2 into 18, 3 into 12, 4 into 9. Okay, and 5 we can't have, 6 we can have, 6 into 6, then 7, 8, 9, then the same thing. Okay, like 4 into 9 was there, 2 into 18 was there, 3 into 12, okay, and 1 into 36. So these are the factors. So how can we get the factors? What we can do is we can run a for loop. Okay, what we want to check is 36 divisible by 1? Is 36 divisible by 2? Is 36 divisible by 3? That we have to check. Okay, so for that what we'll be running is, for that what we'll be running is a for loop. Okay, in that for loop it will be running from 1 to um, 36. Okay, let's keep it now for 36. I know it's not the optimized solution, but let's keep it for now. We'll be running from 1 to 36, and each time what we'll be doing is, this is the I value, right? We'll be checking if 36 modulus I, Okay, 36 modulus I equal to 0. What is 36 modulus I? It will be checking first I will be 1. Is 36 divisible by 1? This checking if it's divisible or not, right? If it's 0 means divisible. Is 1 divisible? If it's divisible, print it. Print I. If it's not divisible, don't do anything. Then I will become 2. It will be checking 36 modulus 2. If it's true, if it's 0, if it's divisible, it's a factor, print that number. Then 3, then 4, then 5, then 6. When we reach 5, at that time 36 modulus 5 will not give us 0. That means it's not divisible. That means it's not a factor. We will not print that number and we will move on to the next iteration. Okay. So let's try to code this one. So first what we need? First we need a number. Let's read the question once more. Input a number. First take the number. Okay, let's do that here. We'll be reading the question and then we'll be solving simultaneously. Okay. First what we need? We need a number. Okay, let's take it int n. Okay, that should be taken by the user. So let's do that now. We have taken the number here that is stored in n, and next what we'll be doing? After that, we have to print all the factors of that number. We have to print all the factors, right? So we'll be running a for loop for int I is equal to 0, I is equal to 1, I is less than or equal to n, I plus plus. If n modulus I, okay, if n modulus I equal to 0, print that number. Okay, pretty simple. That's that number. Okay, let's keep it in a single line. So let's try to run this program. Here what we'll be doing is we'll be entering 36 only. Okay, here we got the what we say, the factors, and let's try to write 100. These are the factors for 100, right? Let's move on to the next one. The next one is take the integer inputs till the user enters 0 and print the sum of all the numbers. Let's read it once more. Take the integer inputs till the user enters 0. So we have to keep on taking the input until the user enters 0 and we have to print the sum of all the numbers. So we will be using a while loop here. So let's see how to approach this question. Okay, let's make it here. Let's draw the rough sketch of how the question will be approached. Here we will be taking a number. Suppose that n is the number. Okay, user will be entering like 1, 2, 3, 6, okay, 10. And when the user enters 0, what we'll be doing is we'll be keeping a sum. Okay, whenever a user enters a number, we'll be checking if it's 0 or not. If it's 0, at that time we'll stop. Else, suppose that we'll start from here. User entered 1. Okay, that will be calculated here. Sum plus is equal to this number. Okay, 1. Then in the next iteration 2 will be entered. Then plus 2. We'll do plus is equal to 2. Then we'll do plus is equal to 3. Then we'll do plus is equal to 6. Then we'll do plus is equal to 10. Cool. We'll do till user enters 0. We will have a if condition here. If not if, we'll have a while, right? If while n is not equal to 0, we'll take the input in n. While n is not equal to 0, perform this sum. If it's 0, then don't perform the while loop, stop it, and then output the sum. Okay, simple. We'll take the int first. Let's write down the steps. The first step is to take the user input as n. Okay, that's the first step. Have a while loop, check it if it's 0 or not. If it's not 0, add it to the sum. If it's 0, output the sum. Cool. Let's take the input now. First we'll have int n and the input n will be taken. So we have the input now. What's the next step? We have to have the sum also. So sum initially will be 0. Okay, sum will be 0, and here we'll have that while loop. While n is not equal to 0, while n is not equal to 0, what you have to do is sum plus or equal to n. Okay, then again we'll take the input. N is equal to sc dot next n. Okay, for the next iteration we'll be taking the input. Okay, and yeah, that's pretty much it about this one. And finally we'll output the sum. Cool, we'll output the sum here. Let's try to run this program. Now suppose that I am entering the numbers 1, 2, 3. It will calculate all the sum. Okay, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. The answer should be 55. Okay, after that if I enter 0, the answer will be 55. Okay, the sum of first and numbers is 55. Okay, the next question is take the integer input till the user enters 0 and print the largest number from all. Okay, so let's see the approach of this question. in this question what we have been asked, do the same thing, means take the numbers. Okay, so n will be having many numbers like 1, 2, 6, 11, 18, 21. Okay, these are the numbers which are coming to n. Okay, and finally if the user enters 0, that means you have to stop, and then we have to print the largest of the number. So first what we'll take, what we'll do is we'll take the number 1. Okay, first we'll have L as the largest number, which will be like 0. Okay, let's keep 0 as the largest number. Then whenever a user enters a number, we will be having a if condition. If n is greater than the largest number, if n is greater than the largest number, suppose that the first one is 1. If 1 is greater than the largest number, if 1 is greater than 0, yes, it's greater than 0. So what we have to do is L is equal to n. The largest number will become the number which we have found out now, which is 1. Okay, so L will become 1. Next we'll see for 2. Here it will be 2 and the largest is 1. So 2 is greater than 1? Yes. So 2's value should be coming to L. L will be having 2. Suppose that we enter any number less than that, like 1.5. Okay. So what will be checked here is 1.5 greater than the largest number, which is 2? If it's not, we will not initialize it. Okay. So this will be skipped. We'll move on to the next one. So till that point we have the largest number 2. Like that we will do till the end of the loop, till the user enters 0, and then we'll output what is the value of L. So it's simple. We'll have n here as the previous one. We have a while loop here till the user enters 0. Each time we'll just have instead of sum, what we'll have is we'll check. We'll have a check for the largest number and update it. Let's write the code for it. It's the same here. Instead of sum, what we'll have is if, let's initialize L is equal to 0, and we'll have if n is greater than L, means the number which we got is greater than the L value. At that time L should become n, because L should have the largest number till that point. Okay, so in that way we'll have the largest number, and then we'll finally output the largest number. Okay, so let's run the program and see. Suppose that I enter the numbers 1, 3, 4. See which is the largest number. Keep track of it. Okay. Which is the largest number? It's 55, right? So I should get the output as 55. Let's see. I have to enter 0 also, yeah. After entering 0, why it's not coming? Oh, sorry. I did not take the input again. So yeah, that I missed here. I have to take the next input here, right? So this is an infinite loop here. So let's run the program now. Okay, let's see. 1, 2, 44, 66, 785, 786, 4, 32. After that I enter 0. What is the largest number? 786. I should get the output as 786. Let's see. I'm getting 786. Okay. So this is about the largest number. So that was for the largest number in series. So let's move on to the next one. Factorial program in Java. Okay, what is a factorial basically? Factorial means, suppose that I have to calculate the factorial of 3. Okay, 3 factorial is represented by 3 and exclamation mark. Factorial means multiply 3 with 3 into 2 into 1 till you reach 1. If you have to calculate the 7 factorial, what will be the 7 factorial? 7 into 6 into 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. Cool. So we can use a for loop here, right? First take the input. Let's write down the steps here. Take input. Okay, and after that run the while loop. You can use while loop here till while n is equal to 1. While n is not equal to 1. While n is not equal to 1, what we have to do? N into, we have to keep fact. We can use factorial here. Factorial is equal to n. Factorial into is equal to n. First factorial will be 1. Okay, let me explain it. What's happening here? Suppose that we have to calculate this factorial. Okay, 7 factorial. Initially 7 will not be equal to 1, right? When we enter here, at that time fact will be equal to 1 initially. Okay, fact should be equal to 1. In that we'll have the final output. Okay, so fact into is equal to n. What is the value of n? 7. So 7 into 1 will be equal to 7, right? Then what we'll be doing, we have to multiply the next number, which is 6, right? So here we will be doing n minus minus. So n will become 6. Then it will be multiplied with fact is equal to fact into n. 7 into 6. then again n minus minus, it will be 5. In the next iteration it will be into 5, means this number is stored in fact into 5, then into 4, then till how much we have to do, till it's not equal to 1. If it's equal to 1, we can stop the iteration, and then we will finally output the factorial. Okay, so let's do the steps. Take the n, while n is not equal to 1, fact into is equal to n, and output n. Let's do the steps here. First we have to take n is already taken here, and instead of L what we'll have is fact. Fact is equal to 1. Okay, and while n is not equal to 1, what we have to do? We have to do fact into is equal to n, and then we'll do n minus minus. Let's try to run this program and see the output. N minus minus and semicolon. Let's try to run this program. If I output like 6, 3 factorial, okay, 3 factorial is 6. If I output like 5 factorial, it should be, I guess, 120. So yeah, that's it for the factorial program. Let's move on to the next one, which is calculate the electricity bill. Okay, electricity bill means let's design this program. What actually the question is, it's not specified, so we can have our own question. Okay, let's suppose that you are living in a home. Okay, and we can keep like electricity bill. Electricity bill means how many units of electricity you have consumed. Okay, units should be taken as the input. Units as the input here we will be taking, and then what is the price for 1 unit. Suppose that 1 unit is equal to 10 rupees. Okay, if 1 unit is 10 rupees, the final output should be system.out.println 10 into the number of units. So it's simple, we'll take the units here and then we'll multiply it by 10 and show it in the output. So let's do that. So let's do that here. That's the electricity bill. So first we'll take n as the number of units, and yeah, let's take n as number of units, and while n is here, we'll just have not anything like, okay, let's it will become very simple program if we just output. So let's have a thing here like enter the price of single unit. Okay, so single unit price will be given to us, so that will be taking as price, like we can have a price here, and we can use the input code here to take the input also. In the price of 1 unit will be stored, and what we have to print out is total bill is equal to plus price into n. Okay, so let's run the program and see. Here first we have to enter the how many units we have consumed. Like suppose I have consumed 90 units, and it's asking what is the price of single unit. If I type 2, it should print the total bill of the electricity is like 180, right? So that's showing here. So for any question, what you have to do is just wait for some time and think what the question is. Calculate like electricity bill. For that, what we have to do? The electricity bill means what? Make a rough sketch like this. Okay, and then see what are the inputs you are taking. Next, what you have to do. Next, what you have to do. Like that, it's more probable that you will get the answer. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. The next question is to calculate the average of n numbers. Okay, so n numbers will be provided to us by using a while loop. We can do. Let's make the sketch. Okay, this is what I am trying to tell you. Calculate the average of n numbers if it's asked. What you have to do is first you have to calculate the average of n numbers. Okay, so to calculate the average of n numbers, first we need the n numbers. How can we get the n numbers? We can keep a for loop. Okay, we can use a for loop here. Okay, for loop for I is equal to 0 till n. Okay, so it will take the n numbers. Each time what we will be doing is we will be calculating the sum. Sum plus is equal to n. So here we will get the sum of whatever numbers the user enters n times. Okay, and after that finally we will outputting. We can have a variable average is equal to what is average? Sum by total numbers, right? Then we'll print this. Cool. Now let's see how to take the inputs. Okay, first we'll take the input n. Okay, that's the first step. Second step is to write a for loop. For loop. Then third step is to calculate average. Fourth print is to print. Fourth step is to print. Let's try out this one. Following these steps, let's try out this one. Here we'll take what all numbers we need, n, and not price, we'll have sum here, and for average we'll have double. Okay, double average. Okay, and we will get the number, how many numbers we want to find out, and each time what we will be doing is we'll be running a for loop, right? We'll be running a for loop here. We'll have a for loop which runs from int I is equal to 0 till I is less than n and I plus plus, and each time what we'll be doing, each time we'll be calculating sum plus is equal to n. So we'll get the sum of all the numbers. Initially sum should be 0, and after getting the sum we have to calculate average, that is equal to sum divided by n. Okay, we'll get the average here, and we'll be outputting the average. This is out, and we will be printing average is equal to, then we'll have here average. Okay, so let's try to run this program. How many numbers I want to enter? Suppose I want to enter 5. Okay, why is it showing average is equal to 5? This loop has not run. So yeah, what I have done is, like, I forgot to write to take the input, like how many numbers we want, that input we took, but in each iteration I have to take the user's input, right? What is the number which the user is sending, right? Next int should be there. So now let's run the program. Now if I enter like 5 numbers, I'll be entering 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. The average is 3. Okay, let's move on to the next one, which is calculate the discount of the product. Okay, calculate the discount of the product. Let's imagine a scenario. You are going to a market. Okay, you have gone to a market, and in that market you purchase a product A, and it was written like 10% off. Okay, suppose that the product's price was 100 rupees. If 10% off means how many rupees you have to pay? 90. How you got 90? 90 we can get by 100. That's the total money. The total product price minus 10% of 100. This is how we calculate. So if I take the input of the user of what is the price of your product, and I take what is the percentage of your product, two things I have to take. First thing is the price of the product. I'll take the input as the price of the product and the discount percent. If I take these two things, what will be the formula? The first step is to take the input as price and discount that the user will be entering. What will be my formula? That is equal to price minus discount by 100 into price, P minus D by 100 into price, and then I will be outputting what is the final cost. Okay, first step is to take these two inputs. The second is to apply this formula and find the answer, and then output the answer. Let's first take these two inputs, price and discount. Let's do it here. We need two numbers here. Let's keep all as double. Okay, alright, let's have let's clear here. Now double, what we need is the price. Okay, price comma discount. Okay, price and discount will be making, and we'll be taking the price first. What is the price of the item, and same thing we'll be doing for discount also. Okay, here we'll have discount. After getting the price and discount, what is the formula? The formula is price minus D by 100 into price. Okay, discounted price is equal to, what is the discounted price? Price minus D by 100 means 0.01 into D discount, and into price. Okay, let's see if this works. Here what we need to have is a bracket. Now let's see if it works. Now let me put the same price here, 100 and 10. I should get a discounted price equal to 90. Okay, so this is how you approach the question for discounted price, and pretty much all the questions you have to approach in this way only. First you have to make the rough sketch of what the question is asking, and after that you have to like observe what is the input you are taking and what is the expected output. Okay, and then you have to take the input and the output from the user, apply the formula, find out what is the formula, apply it, and try to get the answer. Let's move on to the next one, which is calculate the distance between 2 points. Okay, now let's see how to calculate the distance between 2 points. It's an interesting question. So let's see how to output the calculate the distance between 2 points. Okay, start from the beginning. Okay, suppose that this is the graph here. Okay, 0 1 2 3 4, and here also 0 1 2 3 4. Okay, and B is here, A is here, and B is here. Okay, what is the coordinate of A? A is at 0 comma 0. What is the coordinate of B? 3 comma 0. Right, B is at 3 comma 0. Okay, you have to calculate the distance. How much is the distance? We'll calculate how much it is in x-axis. Then we'll calculate how much it is in y-axis. Okay, this one will be 3 minus 0. Okay, and 0 minus 0. That means 3. We got here 3. But that's not always the case. Suppose that B was not here. Suppose that B was not here. Where was B then? Let's make it again. Suppose that B was like here. Okay, at 2 comma 2. Okay, B is now at 2 comma 2. What is the distance between this one? Simple math. Okay, what is the distance between this one? First we have to calculate the distance between this one, and then calculate the distance between this one, square it and add, and find out the square root. Suppose that the distance is x here, distance is y, hypotenuse will be square root of x square plus y square. How to get x square? What is x? X is nothing but this coordinate 2 minus 0. Right, we'll write here 2 minus 0, then we'll calculate the square, plus what is y? Y is also 2 minus 0. Okay, what is the distance here? 2 minus 0. How we can get the distance? This one minus this one. Okay, and square it. By using math.sqrt we can find out the square root, and then we'll output it. Okay, let's break down this problem into steps. This is the second step. First make a rough sketch of what the problem is, then try to break down into different steps. Okay, let's break down this into different steps. What will be the first step? The first step is to take the input. Take input of what? Input of two coordinates like A and B. Okay, here we can take x1 y1. First the user will enter x1 y1, then x2 y2. What is our next step after taking the inputs? We have to apply the formula. Okay, simple. That's the two-step answer. What is the formula? Square root of x2 minus x1 whole square plus y2 minus y1 whole square. Okay, we can take the absolute value here by using math.apps, I guess, and we can calculate the square. No, it's not needed because it's getting squared, so we can directly find the answer here. We'll find out the square root here. Let's try to implement this in the code. First, what we have to do, take the input of x1 and x1 y1 and x2 y2. Let's do that and come back to this diagram. Okay, so here we'll have the, let's keep it int. Okay, we'll have 4 int values: int x1 comma y1 comma x2 comma y2. Okay, x1 y1 and x2 y2. Okay, and what we have to do then, we have to take the input for each of these, x1 y1 x2 y2. Okay, let's take the input of each of these. We'll have here x1. First we'll take the input of x1, then y1. Okay, then same way we'll do for x1 and y1. Then we have here x2 and y2. Okay, we got the 4 inputs. What's the next step? Our next step is to calculate the square root of x2 minus x1 whole square plus y2 minus y1 whole square. Let's directly output here. The distance is equal to, then here we'll have the output. Okay, in this part we'll have the output. Cool. Let's see how to do the output. Sqrt, math.sqrt, and inside that what we'll have is x1 minus x2 whole square. Okay, first we have to calculate the square of this. We have to first calculate the square of x1 minus x2. How can we do that in the Java? To calculate the square of the number, what we have to do is we have to use the math.pow function. Okay, we have to use the math.pow function. Okay, in math.pow we will enter this value, and with which value we are squaring. Like we have to square, then we have to write 2. Okay, we are squaring this one, and what we are squaring, in the same way we are adding it with x1 minus x2 and y1 minus y2. Okay, and we are finding out the square root. Let's see if it works. Let's enter the coordinates 0 0, then 3 and 3. So this is the output. Okay, the next question is to calculate the commission percentage. What is commission? First of all, commission means that if you make sales of like 100 rupees, at that time, if the commission percentage is 20%, at that time how much money you will get is 20% of how much sales you made. Okay, means you will get 20. Okay, so 20 rupees will get. This is the commission. Now we have to, given the number, we'll have to calculate the commission. Okay, it's very easy. What you have to do is get the number here. The first step. Let's write on the steps. Um, get the number means how much sales you made. After that, get the commission percentage. Let's write it as CP, and then finally calculate the how much money it is by simply multiplying this with this one. Okay, means not with this one, 20 by 100. So n into CP by 100. This will be the output. So let's do that in code. First we'll get n and CP, then we will output n into CP by 100. Okay, it's easy. So what we'll have is, in two integers we will have n and CP, and we'll take n is equal to and c is equal to, and we'll have output commission is equal to and we'll have here n into CP divided by 100. Okay, here we'll have CP, and let's try to run this program. And here what will be the input for n is 100 and the commission is 15%, so I should get the commission as 3. Okay, let's move on to the next one, which is power in Java. Okay, calculate the power in Java. I did not understand what the power in Java means. I guess power in Java means like if you have some number, okay, you have to calculate the power without using the math function. Suppose that we have a number like 4, okay, and the power given is, well, let's take 2 here, and the power given is 5. Okay, so this is the power, this is the number. We'll take these two inputs first, and then we have to calculate the power. So we can do that easily. While c is not equal to 5, okay, while c is not equal to 5, c will be starting from 1. What we'll be doing is we'll be having the product. Okay, we'll be saving the product here. Product into is equal to, first product will be 1, product into is equal to n is 2 here, so n will be multiplied with the product and stored in that for 5 times. Okay, and then we'll be doing c++ till it becomes 5. Okay, till it becomes 5 we have to do. So c should start from 0, then 1 2 3 4, so 5 times it will happen. 0 1 2 3 4. Okay, so let's write down this one. First we'll take the inputs of n and p and initialize product and c. So let's do the code of the initialization part. So we need four things: p, n, p, c, and product. Product will be equal to 1 initially, and c will be equal to 0, and n and p will be taken as the input. And after that we have the while loop here. While c is not equal to 5, not 5p. Okay, which power we have to find out. Prod into is equal to n. Okay. So when we do prod into is equal to n, and after that we have to do C++. Let's try to run this program, and finally we'll have the output in the prod. So let's write power of the number is equal to, here we'll output prod. Let's see if it works. Suppose that I want to calculate 3 cubed, 3 and 3, power is 27. Let's try for the next one. I want to calculate 4 raised to 3. That should be, I guess, 64. So yeah, that I'm getting here. Okay. Let's move on to the next one, which is calculate the deprecation of value. So deprecation means that suppose that we have any product here which costs like 100 rupees, and after 1 year it will become 10% reduced. Okay, so 10% of 100 is 10. So 10 minus 100 minus 10 is 90. It will become 90. Then the 10% will be reduced. Okay, what is 10% of 90? It's 9. So 90 minus 9 is 81. Okay, so like that, given the number of years, we have to calculate the final value. Okay, let's see how to do that. For that, what we'll be using is this formula. Okay, the final value is equal to the present value plus into 1 plus r by 100 raised to n. Okay, let's break this down into a simpler part. Here, what are the inputs we need to take? Present value, n and r. These are the three inputs which we need to take. And after that, we have to calculate by using the formula. We can print. What we have to print is PV, which is the present value, multiplied by math dot POW, math dot power, and inside that we can pass the two parameters. The first parameter will be the number which you have to calculate the power of, and next the power. Okay, so let's take the input of PV, N and R. So let's do that in the code. We need three numbers here, int N and PV and R. Okay, let's write here R. After that we'll take the input of N, it is the number of years. R is equal to st dot next int is the date, and this is the present value. After taking these three inputs, we'll just print. What we'll be printing is PV into math dot POW. In the first argument, what we have is um, in the brackets we'll have 1 plus 0.01 into R, that's R by 100, and in the second argument we'll have N. So finally we'll be printing out the final value. Final value will be equal to we are just printing the final value here only, right? Right, that's the final value here. So let's run this program and see if it works. So let's enter like 100, and the deprecation percentage is 10, and I want to see like the deprecation percentage after how many years. The rate is 10, and the present value I have to enter like 100,000. Okay, 10,000. Right, so this is the present value. I have altered the numbers here which I have to enter, but it's okay. I got the final value here, and that's all what we needed in this program. Let's move on to the next one, which is calculate the batting average. Okay, so by this question, I guess it's asking like in each over how much the batsman has scored. That we have to calculate the average, I guess. So first we'll be taking the input of we'll be taking the over one. Okay, like there will be many overs, right? So the over one, what was the score of the batsman? Okay, the score of the batsman will be taken in the over one, then over two, over three, over four, like that. How many overs? First we will take the input how many overs are there. N is the number of overs. Okay, N is the number of overs. Okay, and each time we'll be calculating the sum of the squares. Okay, we'll be calculating the sum of the squares, and then we'll be dividing with n. Okay, so it's a pretty simple one, I guess, but I think I misunderstood the question. Let's try to solve this one. So n is here, the number of overs, and what you have to calculate is the sum. Okay, sum will be initially 0. So it's same as calculating the average. So let's use a for loop. for int I is equal to 0, I is less than n, I plus plus, and here we will have sum plus equal to n, and finally we will be outputting, and here we have to take the input. Yeah, last time I forgot that one. So here we have to take the input also for of n for the next one, and then what we'll be outputting is the final answer, which will be stored in sum. Let's do this one. Sorry, I've made some mistake here, I guess, because I should not take n here. It should be sum plus is equal to standard. So you should have here this one, and let's try to run this one. So let's enter, like, the batsman has scored 6 runs in the first over. Okay, 6 overs are there. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 7. The batting average is 22. Okay. Oh, sorry, I've calculated the sum here. It should be sum by n. Okay, that's the program. Suppose that there are 3 overs. In that, the batsman scores 6, 6, and 6. The average will be 6. Okay. Let's see the next question, which is calculate the cgpa Java program. See, cgpa is also same. We'll get the cgpa for each subject. Let's make it somewhat interesting. Okay. So we have to calculate the cgpa. What is cgpa? Means in all semesters what grade points you got, average of that. Okay, that is cgpa. In that for loop, we'll be taking the input of each semester's GPA. Okay, so I will be running from 1 to 8. Okay, and each time we'll be taking the input. We'll be taking of the input of the GPA. That will be stored in GPA. Okay, GPA sum, and after that we'll be finally outputting GPA sum divided by 8. That will be the CGPA. Okay, so let's try to run this program. So here we will be having int GPA sum. Let's take the. We need not have the n value. What we need to have is we can print. Okay, we can have a output. This out. Enter the GPA of semester, and here we can have I. So semester 1 will be printed, then 2, then 3, till 8. Okay. And each time what we'll be doing is some GPA sum. Okay, GPA sum plus is equal to sc dot next int. Okay, and finally we'll be outputting GPA sum divided by 8. Let's run this program. We will be asking enter the GPA of semester 1, semester 7. Okay, if I put is equal to 8, that will be is equal till is equal to 8. Okay, so I'll get the final GPA as a GPA sum divided by 8. Okay, that is a CGPA. Alright, let's have a look at the next question, which is compound interest using Java program. Okay, this is also a pretty simple one. Use the compound interest formula, like just how we use for the deprecation value, and do the we can easily calculate that. Okay, and next one is the average mark. That's also the same. Addition of two numbers. That's also pretty simple. Sum of n numbers. Armstrong number in Java. This is pretty interesting one. Let's try to solve this one. So let me explain you the what is actually the Armstrong number. So suppose that we have the number 153. Okay, 153. To calculate the Armstrong, if it's an Armstrong or not, what we have to do is we have to do 1 cube plus 5 cube plus 3 cube. Okay, and what is the answer of this one? 1 cube is 1, 5 cube is 125, and 3 cube is 9. 9 plus 1 10. 10 plus 125 is 135. Okay, so instead of 153 we can have 135, right? 135. Now if we calculate this one in this way, like 135, the same answer we'll get, because since it's the sum 1 cube plus 3 cube plus 5 cube, this answer will get as 135, right? if you are calculating the cubes of the digits and adding it, what we will get is the same number which we had before. So this is known as Armstrong number. Okay, let's see how to calculate this one. What are the steps we need to follow? The first step which we need to follow is, let's write down the first step. Take the number. That's the first step. The second step is to separate the number and find out the cubes. Okay, find out the cube of each separate digits. Okay, separate. Let's separate it first. Then find cube, add it, and finally we will be checking if it's equal to the initial number. Means the sum is equal to the initial number. Then it's an Armstrong, else it's not. Let's do the first step. Take the n. Okay, means take the number. Let's write it here. We can take int n as the number is equal to sc dot next n. Alright, we have taken the number, and what's our next step? Our next step is to separate the numbers. How can we separate the numbers? To separate the numbers, we can use while loop, right? Because in each iteration, while n is not equal to, we need the value of n. Okay, so n we will store somewhere. N int n1 is equal to n. Okay, so n1 will be n will be stored in n1, and after that what we'll be doing is while n is not equal to 0, like we had done before, and we will be separating the digits now. We will be having the r also here in r, the remainder. So initially r will be equal to n percentage n modulus 10. So it will give the last digit. So suppose that the number was 135 modulus 10, that will give me 5. I'll find out the cube, add it to the sum. I got this number in r cube, and add it in sum. So we have to initialize sum now. Okay, int r, and initially sum will be 0. R I got. Now I have to cube r. Let's see how to do r cube, and after that I'll be adding that in sum. I can do r cube by sum plus is equal to math.pow. By using pow function, I can do first argument will be r, and how much I want, like cube, right? So it will be cube. That cube will be calculated and put in sum, and I have to do n divided by n is equal to 10. So what will happen is n will become 13 then, right? 135 divided by 10 is 13. Then n will become 1. Then n will become 0. After n becomes 0, what we have to do is we have to check if it's equal to the initial number. The sum, if it's equal to initial number, we'll have the sum here. If sum equal to n1, remember we have stored here n1. Okay, so if it's equal, then we have to print it's an Armstrong. Okay, it's Armstrong, else what we have to print, it's not. Okay, let's keep it it's not. Okay, let's run the program. In this program, first we have to enter the n value. Let's enter 135. It's showing like it's not Armstrong number. Let's see why it is. So let's see how to find out where the mistake is happening. See, I have taken the n value here as 135, and after that r and sum is initialized here, and n1 is 135 now. Okay, while n is not equal to 0, I am calculating the remainder. First remainder will be 5. 5 cube is 125. Sum will have 125. Okay, then n divided is equal to 10. Then it will be 13. Then I will be checking this, and 3 cube is not 9. Yeah, there I have made mistake. See, 3 cube I took as 9, right? So it is not 9, it's 27. So I have to make some change here. Instead of that, I have to use 153 then, because the sum will be 153, right? If it's cube. Now it's an answer. Okay. The next question is to find Ncr and Npr. Let's discuss about what is Ncr and Npr. Okay. So what is Ncr and what is Npr? Okay. Ncr is written like this and Npr is written like this. What is the formula of Ncr? Okay, this is about the combination. So this is n factorial divided by r factorial into n minus r factorial. And Npr formula is n factorial divided by n minus r factorial. Okay, we have to calculate these two values. What will be our input? Our input will be n and r. N comma r, that is the first step. Take the input n and r. Second step, we have to calculate Ncr, then Npr. Our third step is to print both of those answers. Okay, let's see how to do this one. Okay, for that we'll have to calculate the factorial, which we have already done. So we'll create a function of this one to create the use the factorial, and then we'll be calling that function whenever we need the factorial. Okay, so let's do that. Our first step is to take the input n and r. So let's take the input n and r. N is here and r is equal to s3 dot next n. We got the inputs n and r. Okay, what is our next step? Our next step is to find out the factorial. Okay, we have done the factorial part. Let's create a function for this one, like public. And don't worry about functions. Will be, I guess there is a separate topic for the functions. Void fact, not void. Int fact, and here we'll have int n. Okay, to get the factorial, and here we'll have the for loop for n is equal to, for int I is equal to n, I is greater than 0, I minus minus. Okay, and what we'll have here is n into is equal to I. Okay, n into is equal to I will be running from n minus 1 to 1. Okay, I guess this will get us the answer. Like suppose that n is 5. Okay, 5 and I will be 4. So I minus minus will happen 5 into 4, then it will be 3. So into 3, then into 2 into 1. Yeah, so I guess this should work. And here we'll have return n. Okay, so this will calculate the factorial for us. Okay, and now we have to print out the Ncr and Npr. Let's create two variables, Ncr comma Npr. This will store Ncr and Npr values. Okay, so the formula for Ncr is this one: n factorial divided by r factorial into n minus r factorial. Okay, so right here like this only, n factorial divided by r factorial into n minus r factorial. N minus r factorial. Okay, so this is the formula. Now let's instead of exclamation mark we can use fact. Okay, so we are calculating for Ncr. Ncr is equal to fact. We are passing n here. When we pass n, that fact n will be calculated divided by fact r. This will be in a separate brackets into factorial of n minus r. Okay, so this will give us the value of Ncr. In the same way we will calculate the value of Npr also. Here we have Npr, that is equal to factorial of n divided by factorial of n minus r divided by factorial of n minus r. Okay, I guess this is the final answer. So after that we'll print. Here we'll have the factorial we'll print both separately. The Ncr is we'll have Ncr here. Okay, and here we'll print the Npr is, and here we'll have Npr. Npr. Let's try to run this program. Okay, here we have to enter the n and r values. If I calculate like for C2 4c2 is 6, Ncr is 6, and Npr is 12. Okay, means 4 factorial divided by 2 factorial, that is 12. 4 these are 12. Okay, so this is giving the correct answer. Let's move on to the next one, which is reverse a string in Java. Okay, you have to think a bit like how to reverse the string in Java. Okay, so one approach what we can follow is, suppose that the string is solution. Okay, SOLUTION. Okay, so to reverse this one, what we can do is, the final answer will be NOITULOS. Okay, so what's happening here? Observe carefully. S is getting replaced with N. Okay, O is getting replaced with O, L is getting replaced with I, U is getting replaced with T. Okay, so what we can have is, we can use a pointer. That pointer will be pointing the first character, and another pointer will be pointing to the last character. We will be changing these two values. Okay, we'll be exchanging these two values, and then we'll be incrementing this pointer and decrementing this pointer. Then we'll change these two values, increment this one, decrement this one. Again change these two values, increment and decrement. And finally when we reach the middle, we'll stop. Okay. For that, what are the steps we need to follow? Step to approach the question. The first step is take the string input. Taking the string is the first our first step. Okay. After we get the string, what we have to do? We have to take 2 pointers. Okay. First we'll calculate str length. Okay. I guess this is the code for calculating the length. Length will be stored in n. Okay. And then we'll be using a for loop for I is equal to 0 till I is less than n, and then I plus plus. Then our third step is to exchange the value of char at I, which is the first character, with the last character. The last character is present at, exchange it with char at n minus I. N minus I minus 1. Okay, suppose that the length of this is how much? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, its length is 8. The index values are this one. Let's write down the index values. 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. These are the index values. You have to exchange 0 with 7. How can we do that? N minus I is 0 initially, minus 1. That will give me 8 minus 1, 7. In the next iteration, I will become 1. So n minus 8 minus 1 minus 1 is 6. Okay, so 6 will be exchanged with 1. So by using this formula, exchange char at this one and this one. Okay, we can do the reverse of this, and till how much it should go? No, it's not n, it's n by 2. Okay, n by 2 it should go, till n by 2 it should go. Okay, what is n by 2 in this case? 4. So it should just change 4 characters. Okay, so let's try to implement this in the code. Our first step is to take the string, so let's write down the code for that one. Taking the string. Okay, let's take the string here. So we'll have string s capital, string s. Okay, you have the string s. After that, what we have to do? Int n is equal to s dot length. I guess it should work. Yeah, we got the length here. There's an error here. Okay, and I have to take the input. S is equal to sc dot next. Okay, we got the length also, and after that we have to use the for loop. For int I is equal to 0, I is less than n, I is less than n by 2, I plus plus. Okay, and which two characters will exchange? We'll have a character here, char c. Okay, char temp, to show the temporary character. Okay, here first we will have temp is equal to s dot char at I guess this should work. Okay. Then s dot char at I is equal to s dot char at n minus I minus 1. Will this work? So if it's not working, you can do something like this. S of I. So I guess there's some error here. So the reason why I'm getting the error is that because the strings are immutable in Java, so we cannot make any edit here. So we have to go for a different approach. So the changes which we have to make here are like we have to convert the string into a character array. Okay. So here we'll have scanner is equal to new scanner. We'll first take the input in a string s is equal to st.next. After getting the input in the string, then next what we are supposed to do is we'll convert the string into a character array. Okay. Character array we can take as character array cs is equal to s dot to char array. So this will convert the s string to character array, and then we'll be using a for loop. Before that we'll have a character c or character temp, and we'll have int n to denote the length of the character array. So we'll have cs dot length. Okay, and here we'll have int I is equal to 0, I is less than n by 2, and I plus plus. And inside that, what we'll be doing is we'll be exchanging the values. Okay, firstly we'll have temp is equal to cs of I. Okay, and cs of I should be equal to cs of n minus I minus 1. Okay, so after that we'll be writing cs of n minus I minus 1, that is equal to m. Okay, after that we'll be finally outputting the value of cs. Okay, so let's see if it works. We'll have to enter a string here. I will type hello, so it's giving me the reverse. Okay, so I don't know if there's a way to convert this character array back into a string, but this is the logic of the program. Okay, let's move on to the next one, which is to find if the number is palindrome or not. Okay, so let's try out this one. So let's see how to do that one. How to do the palindrome question. So here, suppose that the number given is 12521. Okay, basically what we are checking, we are checking if this one is equal to this one, right? We are checking this one if this one is equal to this one or not. Okay, so how can we get these two numbers? The first number we can get by the n, if this is n modulus 10. Okay, and how to get this number? N divided by 10. Okay, after getting these numbers and checking if it's equal or not, so basically we are checking n divided by 10 equal to n modulus 10. If it's equal, don't do anything. If it's not equal, then break and say the number is not a palindrome. Okay, after checking for these two numbers, we are concerned just about this one. How to check if this is the number or not? How to get this number from this big number? To get this number, what we have to do is one way is that first initially I have this number, right, 12521. Okay, so if I modulus it by like 10, then I'll get this number. Okay, if I modulus by 10, then I'll get this number. This one will be removed. Okay, sorry, not modulus, divide. Okay, if I divide by 10, this one will be removed. If I divide by 100, okay, suppose that I divided by 100, so I'll get this much. If I divide it by 1000, okay, if I divide by 1000, I'll get this much, right? If I divide it by 10,000, then I'll get this much. Okay, I'll get this much, and the remainder will be this much, right? So let me repeat this again. Let's take a small number. Let's take 123. If I do 123 divided by 10, how much I'll get? 12, right? If I do 123 divided by 10, I am getting 12. If I do 123 divided by 100, how much I will get? 1, right? And what will be the remainder? The remainder will be 23. Instead of um, divide, if I do 1 2 3 modulus 100, I'll get remainder as 23. Okay, so there are two steps which you need to follow. To get 252 from this number, our aim is to get this number. What we can do is first get this number, then get this number. First remove the first digit, then remove the last digit. How to remove the first digit? See, 1 2 5 2 1 is there. How to remove the last digit? What we can do is we can divide it by how to remove the first digit. Okay, this one is the first. How to remove this one? 1 2 5 2 1 modulus of 10 power. How many digits are there? That much power. Okay, if I do this divided by this one, this number, I will get the remainder 2 5 2 1. That is removed. The first digit is removed now in this number, and after that what I will be doing is I will be dividing it by 10 power 4, not 10 power 4, dividing by 10. Okay, if I divide by 10, I'll get this number 252, right? So in that way I'll get this middle number. After getting 252, what I have to do? I have to apply the same thing, check for 2 and 2. If it's same, then remove these two digits and we'll be remaining with the 5. Let's summarize what I have just told now. So see, this was the number with us, 1 2 5 2 1. Okay, this is the number which we got. What is our first step? The first step is to take the number. Okay, to take the number, and after that we have to check if the first digit is equal to the last digit or not. If the first digit is n divided by 10, equal to n modulus 10. If it's equal, then continue, else break. Okay, what will be our third step? Right, what will be our third step? Our third step is to remove the first and the last digits. Remove these two digits. How to remove the first digit? FD means RFD, removing the first digit. How can we remove? N modulus 10 power the number of digits. We will calculate the number of digits by using a function. Okay, there are inbuilt functions, but we will calculate using our own written function. Okay, so by using this formula, what is the thing is the first digit will be removed. Our next step is to remove the last digit. How to remove the last digit? After we have this number 2521, if I divide by 10, the last digit will also be removed. Okay, after removing the first and the last digits, what I'll be doing, I'll be storing the value in n. N is equal to RLD. Okay, it will be RFD here because RFD is getting divided by 10. First we have this whole number. When this is removed, this is RFD. RFD divided by 10 is this one. This number will be again stored in n. Okay, then we'll repeat the same process. How many times we have to repeat? N by 2 times means the total number of digits by 2. This one we will calculate. 5 by 2 means 2 times we have to calculate. Okay, 2 times this loop will be running. First let's focus on how to calculate the number of digits. Now we'll be focusing on how to calculate the number of digits. Okay, we can use a for loop here or a while loop. While the number is not equal to 0, we can take the copy of a number, that same number. While it's not equal to 0, what we'll be doing? Will be divide is equal to 10 and count plus plus. Okay, this will give us the number of digits in count. Count will be 0, and whenever we divide it by 10 and the answer is not 0, we will get count plus plus. So let's take an example. Suppose that the number is 125. 125 is not equal to 0, true. 125 divided by 10, the number will be then 12. Then count plus plus. Count is 1 now. Okay, it was 0, now it's 1. Then again 12 is not equal to 0. 12 divided by 10, what is 12 divided by 10? It's 1. Okay, when it's 1, again the count will increase, it will become 2, then again it will come, 1 is not equal to 0, 1 divided by 10 is 0, count plus plus, count plus plus is 3 now. So after that we will come here and the number will be ended. Okay, we'll get the number of digits in count, we'll return count. Okay, in that way we'll get the number of digits here. So let's summarize what we have to do first. Let's come back to this document again and again to see what we have to do. Okay, first let's take the input here, n. Okay, let's write the code for it. We have int n. Okay, int n is equal to sc dot next int. This is a number which we have to calculate if it's a palindrome or not. Okay, what's the next step? Our next step is to check if n divided by 10 equal to n modulus 10. This inside a loop. Okay, that loop will be running for how many times? This number by 2 times. This number is nothing but count. Okay, so this number will be, this loop will be running for while count divided by 2. Okay, count by 2 number of times. Okay, so let's write here int number of times. Okay, number of times is equal to count divided by 2. What is count divided by 2? Right, what is count divided by 2? Count is nothing but we are calculating count by calling a function in which we will be passing this number. Okay, let's calculate, let's initialize that function later. First we will write what we have to call. Here we will be calling that, let that function be count digits. Okay, let that function be count digits, and what we are passing is n, and that will return us count value. Okay, count is equal to count of digits of n. Okay, let's define the function here. Here we will have public static int and count digit. Okay, and here we are getting a value int n. Okay, how we have to calculate the number of digits that we have seen here? To calculate the number of digits, what we will be doing is this loop, while loop. While n is not equal to 0, while n is not equal to 0, n divide is equal to 10, then count plus plus. Okay, in that we will have a count here. For keeping the count, first it's 0, while n is not equal to 0, what we should have here? N divide is equal to 10 and count plus plus. Okay, and that will be returned. Count will be returned from this. Count will be returned from this function. Return count. Okay, count is returned from this function. That will be stored here. Okay, that will be stored here. Now, while count, we can take a variable here int times iterated. What it will do is, first it will be 0, and how many times it will be iterated, we will be incrementing that value. Okay, while times iterated is less than or equal to number of times. Means what does this line of code do is, first it will be 0. How many times you have to iterate in this loop? See, in this loop how many times you have to iterate? In this loop, not this one, this loop. In this loop, how many times you have to iterate? The total number of digits divided by 2, right? Total number of digits divided by 2, that is count by 2, count we got from here, the number of digits, that divided by 2 will be stored here. This many times you have to iterate. So I am keeping a count of how many times I have iterated. Initially it's 0, then I will be incrementing for each count. So after the first iteration, times iterated plus plus, so it will become times iterated plus plus. Okay, and in this iteration what we have to do? We have to check if n is equal to n divided by 10. Okay, n divided by 10 equal to n modulus 10. Okay, if it's equal, then don't do anything. Okay, else break. Okay, else break. Okay, and if it's equal, then we have to pass to the next one. How we can do that? So what we did here is, after we get this as equal, okay, else break that we have written here, then what we'll be doing is we'll be cropping this number. This number will be cropped by using RFD and RLD. Okay, we'll create two variables here, RFD and RLD, and RFD comma RLD. Okay, what does RFD and RLD have that I've written here? N modulus 10 percentage 10 raised to 5. Okay, so let's do that. RFD is equal to N modulus um, N modulus math dot power 10 raised to count, right? 10 raised to count. Okay, that will be in RFD. So I'm getting an error here. Cannot convert from double to int. So it was having a typecasting issue, so we can use int to solve that. And after we get this value, we have to do the next step, which is RLD, that is equal to RFD by 10. So RLD is equal to RFD divided by 10. Okay, and after that, what was the next step? N is equal to RLD. Okay, N is equal to RLD. So in N we'll have the cropped number. Then we repeat the same thing. Okay. So I guess that's it for this program. Let's try to run and see if there are any errors. Firstly, we have to enter any number. Let's enter 12521. Oh, sorry, we have forgot to output if it's palindrome or not. So basically, what mistake I had done was while checking here. See here, while we are doing the check here, while and this one, n divided by 10 is equal to n percentage 10. This mistake actually, because if n is equal to 12521, okay. So the actual check which we have to make here is that suppose that n is equal to 12521, okay. What we are checking is the first and the last digit, right? To get the first digit, what we have to do is not n divided by 10, but n divided by 10 power 4. The total number of digits minus 1, 5 minus 1, 4. If you do that, then only we will get 1, okay. And n percentage 10 is correct, okay. So after making that change, if we try to run this program here, that's the only change which we needed here. And if we try to run this program and enter the value of n as 12521, we'll get it as palindrome. Okay, let's try another number like 153. 125, it's not a palindrome. Okay, moving on, we have the next question, which is the future investment value. This is the same as the previous one. We had calculated the depreciation value. Here it's the present value into 1 plus interest rate raised to n. Okay, that's also a pretty simple one. And let's see the HCF and LCM of two numbers. Let's see how to find out the HCF and LCM. So let's take two example numbers. Okay, so suppose that the two numbers are 18 and 12. Okay, so this is T1. Okay, this is T2. Two numbers. Okay, now what we are doing is we are doing the modulus operator on this, and we are calculating the modulus. This will come out to be 6. In the next step, what we will do? 12 modulus 6. That is equal to 0. Whenever we get 0, we'll stop. Okay, stop whenever we get 0. Okay, and till we get 0, what we have to do is, here what we did. See, this number came here, this number came here, right? That's what happened. Okay, so we are exchanging the values. So for that, what we'll be doing is we'll be taking a temporary variable which is which will store the value of t2. So in t2 will have 12. Okay, means t2's value will be stored in temp. Here it will be 12. Then t2 should be equal to, what is t2 equal to here? This one, right? This one is what? T1 modulus t2. Okay, so t2 should be equal to t1 modulus t2. Okay, and then finally the value of t1 is what? 12. 12 was t2. So T1 is equal to T2. So T1, the T2 value we had stored here, which is in temp. So we'll initialize it as temp. Okay. So here what we did, first we calculated this one that is stored here. This came in T2, and this value is stored in temp, which was retrieved back in T1. Okay. So by doing that, whenever we get a 0, which is the highest common factor, this one, right? This is the highest common factor, 6. So we'll be outputting T2. HCF is T2. Okay. Let's do that in code. And while outputting, we have to not output T2, but we have to output T1. Okay, because that's the last line of this function. Okay. So anyways, that will be the same thing because T2 will be stored in temp. Temp is getting stored in T1. So basically, we have to output T1. Okay. And how can LCM be found? As we know, N1 into N2 is equal to HCF into LCM. So by using this formula, we can calculate the LCM also. Okay. So let's code this one. For this, first what we need? First we need to get two numbers, right? N1 comma N2, and to store we need temp comma temp1 and temp2. Okay. Now we have to take the numbers. Let's create a scanner object. Alright, we have created a scanner object. Let's take the input st.nextInt. That will be stored in N1 first. N1 is equal to this one, and same thing will be done for N2 also. Right. After storing the value of N1 and N2, then we have to while, and we have to get these values in temp1 and temp2. Temp1 is equal to N1, temp2 is equal to N2. Okay. And after getting these values, we have to see when temp2 is not equal to 0. Okay. When temp2 is not equal to 0, temp2 means the in our example, see here, when temp2 will become 0. If this is 0, this is nothing but temp1 percentage temp2. Okay, this one. This is getting assigned to temp2. Okay, so this will be checked. If it's 0, you have to stop there and return T1. Okay, so while this is not equal to 0, we have to perform two steps. Temp is equal to, we have written here T2, which is temp2. Okay, temp is equal to temp2, and temp2 is equal to temp1 modulus temp2, and finally we have temp1 is equal to temp. And after we get over with this one, what will be the HCF? HCF is equal to temp1. Okay, and LCM is equal to N1 into N2 divided by temp temp1. That's the HCF. Okay, so let's initialize this one. Double, and here also double, and then we'll output. After enter two numbers, let's enter 12 and 18. We got the HCF as 6 and LCM as 36. Alright. Our next program is to check if the character is a vowel or a consonant. Okay. So these are pretty given. So here what we will do is first character char ch is equal to, okay, char ch will take, and now we'll take in the input. Okay, so ch is equal to st dot next. Next dot caret 0. Okay, so here we are taking the character, and after we get the character, what we have to check is if ch equal to a, or ch equal to e, or ch equal to I, or ch equal to IO or EH equal to U. Okay, if it's any of these, then this is out, that it's a vowel, right? Else it's a consonant. Let's enter any vowel. I is a vowel. Okay, let's move on to the next one, which is to check if it's a perfect number in Java or not. Okay, so what is a perfect number? What is a perfect number? So let's see what's the perfect number. A perfect number, let's take example. Suppose that 6. Okay, 6. What are the divisors of 6? Divisors of 6 are 1, 2, and 3. If you add up the divisors, we will get 6, right? If this is same, then it's a perfect number. For that, first, what are the steps we need to follow to answer this question? Okay, the first step is take the number. Okay, n. Take the number in n, and after that, find out its divisors, means the factors. And after that, what we have to do is, after finding out the factors, we have to add the factors. Okay, after we add the factors, we'll compare the sum with the number. Okay, we'll compare the sum with the number. All right, so let's see how to approach this question. First, let's take the value n. Okay, write here in n, comma sum is equal to 0. Okay, and we'll take the n here. N is equal to h dot next int. Let's remove it for now. Okay, we got the number. Now what's our next step? Our next step is to run a for loop. Int I is equal to 0, I is less than n minus n divided by 2, and I plus plus. Again, why n minus n divided by 2? Because if it's 6, we are running from 1 to 3 only. Okay, means 4, 5, 6 and all, it will obviously not be the divisors. Okay, so while checking this, what we have to check is, if n modulus I equal to 0, means if it's a divisor, then sum plus or equal to I. Okay, so this will be starting from 1. Okay, and this will be less than or equal to and here will be the sum. Okay, finally we will be comparing. If sum equal to n, if sum equal to n, then print out, then print if it's a perfect number. Okay, else print if not. Okay, let's try to run this program. Now here we'll take like 6. It's a perfect number it's showing, and let's enter 7. It's not a perfect number. Okay, let's move on to the next one, which is to check if it's a leap year or not. Okay, here some checks are there using if and else condition, which I have to look at the Google. I'll be looking at that, and I'll be telling you how it is. Okay, so let's discuss about leap year. Okay, so basically what we know is that whenever a number is divided by 4, divisible by 4. Okay, suppose that 2000. Okay, if it's divisible by 4, means modulus 4 equal to 0, then it's a leap year. But that's not only the case. Okay, means for example 1900, 1800, 1700, these are all divisible by 4, right? But it's not leap year. How can we ensure that? That we can ensure by doing modulus 400. Okay, when you do this one, if it's equal to means in this case it's not equal to 0. Whenever it's equal to 0, like 400, like 2000, modulus 400 will be equal to 0, then it's a leap year. So how many checks we have? The first check is that if the year modulus 4 equal to 0, and the second check is that year modulus 100 equal to 0, not equal to 0. Okay, if it's divisible by 4 but not divisible by 100, then it's a leap year, like 2016. Okay, and or year modulus 400. Okay, this for 2000. Okay, for 2000 what will happen? This is a leap year, right? But when we do this one, it will be equal to 0, and this will also be equal to 0. This will also be equal to 0. But we have put a check that not equal to 0, so this case will fail. So which case is remaining for 2000? This one it will pass and it will be output as leap year. Okay, so what is the input we have to take? Year. And what is the output? If it's a leap or not. Okay, leap year or not year. If it's a leap year or not. Okay, that's the output. Let's code this one. First let's take the input for leap year. Okay, we'll take the input for year and we'll have year is equal to sc.nextInt, and here we'll have the check. Okay, if year modulus 100 modulus 4 equal to 0 and year modulus 100 is not equal to 0 like 2016, or another case is that year modulus 400 equal to 0. Okay, this is another check. These are two checks. If any of these either sides of the OR are becoming are true, at that time we can output it's a leap year. Okay, else not a leap year. Okay, so let's run the program and see. So here we have to input the year, which is the first I'll input 2000, it's a leap year. Then 2016, let's test for all the cases, it's a leap year. Then 1700, 1700, it's not a leap year. So yeah, that's for this program, like for the leap year to find if year is a leap year or not. Moving on to the next one, we have the sums of the digits of a number. That's also easy. We have to just separate the number into different digits and calculate the sum. Okay. The next one is Kunal is allowed to go out with his friends only on the even days of a given month. Write a program to count the number of days he can go out in the month of August. Okay. So let's see how to approach this question. Okay. So the Kunal can go only when only in the even days of the month. Okay. So in August we have how many days? 31 days. Okay. So the even numbers are like 2, 4, 6. These dates he can go out with his friends. Okay. So what we'll be doing, we'll be running a for loop from 1 to 31, and then we'll be outputting the I value. Okay, I will be running from 1 to 31, and we are outputting the I value whenever I percentage 2 will be equal to 0. Okay. So let's run the program here. So let's take the int I, and I will be running from for loop for I is equal to 1, I is less than or equal to 31, and I plus plus. Okay. So here we will output if I modulus 2 equal to 0, at that time print I. Okay. Let's run the program. It should output the numbers from 2 to 30. So these are days in which Kunal can go out with his friends. Okay. Moving on to the next question, which is to write a program to print the sum of negative numbers, sum of positive even numbers, and the sum of positive odd numbers from a list of numbers n entered by the user. The list terminates when the user enters 0. Okay, let's break down this question. So here we have a list. Okay, so print the sum of negative numbers, positive numbers, and odd numbers. Okay, positive, even, and odd. Okay, so three things are there: negative and positive, and the positive even, positive, odd. Okay, and the list terminates when the user enters 0. So let's see how to approach this problem. In this problem, first we'll get the input as n, means how many numbers the user is going to enter, and in that we'll run a for loop. Not a for loop because we are not taking the n value, because when the user enters 0, at that time we'll be outputting, we'll be stopping the loop. So while n is not equal to 0, okay, while n is not equal to 0, we'll have three things. Okay, if n is less than 0, if n is less than 0 means it's a negative number, some negative Sn. Okay, some negative plus is equal to n. Okay, and else if it's a positive even number, even means n percentage, 2 is 0. If it's 0, Se will be plus equal to n. Else some odd, So is equal to plus is equal to n. Okay, so let's write the code for this program. Here we will have three sums. Okay, int sum negative, and some even and some odd. Okay, and we'll run a for loop while n is not equal to 0. First we'll create a scanner object. Scanner st is equal to new. So now what we'll be doing is we have created a scanner object, and then we'll take the input. Okay, input as n. You have to create n also, comma n. Okay, and n will be equal to st dot next n. Okay, st dot next n. While n is not equal to 0, if n is less than 0, means it's a negative number, sn plus is equal to n. Okay, here we'll initialize each of these as 0 is equal to 0, se is also equal to 0, and so is also equal to 0. Okay, else if n modulus 2 equal to 0 means it's an even number, se plus is equal to n. Okay, else it's an odd number, so plus is equal to n. Okay, and after that we'll be taking the input from the user. N is equal to this same line of code, which is n is equal to sc dot next end. Okay, so after that we have to output the three sums. So let's see, we have to output the three sums. Sum of negative numbers, sum of negative numbers will be equal to, what will be the sum of negative numbers? Sn, right? And the same way we will have the sum for the positive numbers and the positive even numbers. Okay, let's write even and sum of odd numbers. Okay, so here we'll have sum of even numbers, and here we'll have sum of odd numbers. Okay, so let's try to run this program and enter some numbers here. Let's enter -1 and 2, 3. So the positive sum should be 5, the negative sum should be -10, and odd numbers, let's enter, this is the odd number, right? So yeah, 5 and one more even number. Okay, what will be the final output expected? Negative numbers means -10, it should be -10, and then -10, 6 and 8. Okay, -10, 6 and 8. Let's see, -10, 6 and 8. Okay, so yeah, that's all for this video, and thank you for watching. If you have any doubt, feel free to contact me in my email ID, and I'll see you in the next one.